It is difficult to believe that these true crime stories actually occurred or that human beings are capable of committing such heinous acts because they are so horrifying. However, it is clear that people are capable of committing heinous acts. Despite this, each of these accounts occurred in real life. When compared to fiction, real life can be a lot more depressing at times. Murder, kidnapping, betrayal, torture, and death are all realities that can be encountered in real life. Today we will looking at top 10 crimes happened this week. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to our channel. Number 10. Woman attempts to smuggle $450,000 worth of cocaine in her wheelchair at New York Airport. The previous week, a woman was taken into custody at the John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York after customs officers discovered nearly $500,000 worth of cocaine hidden in her wheelchair. Emelinda Paulino de Rivas was detained by United States Customs and Border Protection agents on November 10 at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City. The agents noticed that the wheels on the wheelchair she was traveling in were not actually turning, and as a result, they decided to interview her. This led to her arrest. The woman, identified as Emelinda Paulino de Rivas, was taken into custody on November 10, according to a statement released by U.S. Customs and Border Protection on Monday. She arrived in New York City in a wheelchair after taking a flight from the Dominican Republic, and customs officers detained her when they noticed that the wheelchair's wheels were not turning. When they x-rayed the chair, they discovered an anomaly in all four of them. Shortly thereafter, they discovered 28 pounds of cocaine hidden within them. According to the authorities, this quantity has a street value of $450,000. Number 9. University of Virginia shooting survivor doesn't know his friends are dead. Mike Hollins, a student at the University of Virginia who was among those who narrowly escaped the shooting that took place on Sunday night, does not yet know the fate of 3 of his friends and teammates. Brenda Hollins told CBS News in her first television interview since the shooting that her son, who is a running back for the school's football team, is using pen and paper to ask about his friends. This was Brenda Hollins' first television interview since the shooting. She remarked that despite his inability to communicate verbally, he had written C's name on the paper. The name Devin has been written by him. And then, I think it was A.L. I don't know what he was writing at the bottom, but he was taking the marker and beating on it because he wants to know. And then, I believe it was an L. She reported that her son had been shot in the back, and the bullet had exited the body through his stomach. She reported that after 2 operations, he is in a critical condition but stable overall. Number 8. Father of slain UVA football player Dean Perry shares the final texts he exchanged with his son. After the Virginia Cavaliers lost to the Pittsburgh Panthers by a score of 37-7 on Saturday, Perry's last text conversation with his son took place just before 9 o'clock in the evening. During the game, Perry, a linebacker for the team, recorded 2 solo tackles for the defense. The following day, around 6 o'clock in the evening, Perry's father sent his son a clip of Saturday's game in the fourth quarter via text message, along with some parting words of encouragement to his son, "Keep on working." A few hours later, at 11:17 p.m., the father sent another text, asking, "Yo, how's it going up there?" However, that text never received a response. Around 10:30 p.m., when officers were dispatched to a report of shots fired, Perry was riding on a bus full of students that was parked close to a campus parking garage. Number 7. Off-duty New York officer kills woman and wounds another, then fatally shoots herself. During a domestic dispute, an off-duty police officer in the western part of the state of New York shot and killed one woman, wounded another woman, and then took her own life, according to the police and other officials. According to the Rochester police, the shootings took place inside of a residence just before 7:30 p.m. on Monday. According to Lieutenant Greg Bello of the Rochester Police Department, police officer Tiffany Gatson of the city of Greece, which is a suburb of Rochester, opened fire on Angeli Solis, who was 27 years old, and another woman before turning the gun on herself. The Office of Special Investigation within the New York Attorney General's office is required to conduct an investigation into every death that may have been caused by a law enforcement officer. According to the office's preliminary findings, a Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun that was discovered at the scene does not appear to have been Gatson's service weapon. Number 6. Boy and woman stabbed with butcher knife at Target store in Los Angeles. On Tuesday, a man walked into a Target store in downtown Los Angeles, stabbed and critically injured 2 people, including a 9-year-old boy, before he was shot and killed by a security guard, according to the police. Killed the suspect. The stabbings occurred just before 6:30 p.m. in the Target store that is located in FIGAT 7th, which is a large open shopping plaza with multiple levels and is situated in the financial district of the city. Police Chief Michelle Moore stated at a news conference that the man, who was described as being 40 years old and homeless, entered the store, grabbed a large butcher-style knife from a shelf, and approached a 9-year-old boy, telling the boy multiple times that he was going to kill him. The man was then arrested. Number 5. Natalie Morales delivers her first true crime investigation for 48 hours. Natalie Morales, a journalist who has won numerous awards, will make her investigative debut on the critically acclaimed true crime series produced by CBS News. An orange sock was discovered close to the crime scene of Oberholzer's murder, and a matching sock was discovered on Schnee. This allowed investigators to make the initial connection between the two murders that occurred in 1982. The investigation into the case was put on hold until the DNA that was recovered from the evidence was run through a public genealogy database, at which point a match was found. Investigators would later discover, in a bizarre turn of events, that the perpetrator of the crime had been rescued from a snow-covered mountain pass by a local fire chief on the very same night that he dumped the bodies of 2 women there. Number 4. Family of 2 adults, 3 children found dead inside their Phoenix home. On Wednesday, the bodies of 5 members of the same family were discovered inside their home in Phoenix, Arizona. The incident is being investigated by the authorities as a possible homicide. The 2 adults and 3 children were all found to have obvious signs of trauma, according to the police, but investigators are not looking for a suspect in connection with their deaths. The identities of the victims and their ages were not immediately made public. However, CBS affiliate KPHO-TV was able to speak with the family's cleaning ladies, who revealed that the couple who lived at the home had twin girls who were 6 months old and a boy who was 3 years old. A video captured by a television station at the scene showed multiple emergency response vehicles in the neighborhood in addition to a propane tank that was located in a large taped-off area around the house. Concerned for their own safety, law enforcement officers did not enter the house for several hours, but they reported finding the 5 bodies sometime around noon after the house had been secured. Number 3. Texas laws allow teachers to carry guns on school grounds with little regulation. The Texas Republican Party has urged schools to arm themselves and harden the target in the wake of the school shooting in Uvalde that claimed the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers. However, the state laws that regulate armed staff in Texas are relatively lax, so local school districts are free to decide for themselves what kind and how much training their employees need to have in order to carry guns on campus. Jeff Sellers is the proprietor of Schools on Target, which, as part of his Texas School Guardian program, provides training with firearms to teachers and other school personnel. According to CBS reports, he stated that in order for his trainees to pass his program, they must first achieve a shooting accuracy of at least 90% and log a total of 40 hours of training. Additionally, he requires them to pass the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, which is a psychological test that is typically administered to evaluate candidates for positions in law enforcement. Number 2. Judge drops 4 of 11 sexual assault counts against Harvey Weinstein. On Tuesday, the judge presiding over Harvey Weinstein's trial in Los Angeles dismissed 4 of the 11 sexual assault charges against the movie mogul. This decision came after the prosecution announced that they would not pursue the counts involving one of his accusers. The charges of forcible rape and forcible oral copulation leveled against the 70-year-old Weinstein were dropped by the judge who presided over the case in the Superior Court. Lisa Lynch. The move had appeared likely ever since the opening statements of the trial 3 weeks ago, when the prosecutors only mentioned 4 women Weinstein was charged with assaulting, leaving out the accuser identified in an indictment as Jane Doe. The move had appeared likely ever since the opening statements of the trial 3 weeks ago. In the beginning, the prosecutors did not drop the charges against Weinstein, and they left the door open for the possibility that the woman would testify. However, Weinstein's defense team was looking for a clear answer on the matter. Number 1. Todd and Julie Crisley should each be sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. After being found guilty of fraud and tax evasion earlier this year, reality television stars Todd and Julie Crisley faced the possibility of receiving a sentence of more than 10 years in prison for their crimes. Federal prosecutors recommended in a memorandum regarding sentencing that Todd Crisley be sentenced to between 17 and nearly 22 years in prison, and that Julie Crisley be sentenced to between 10 and 12 years in prison. The prosecution argued that the Crisleys should be given a harsher sentence because the evidence demonstrates that many of their crimes were more serious than was originally believed. Engaged in a lengthy conspiracy to defraud community banks out of tens of millions of dollars, it was said about the couple. That's a wrap for today's video. What are your thoughts on our list? Let us know in the comments section below. And make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more future updates.